We're out here at CES 2025 in Las Vegas, checking out what MSI's got to offer. And ladies and gents, there's a whole bunch of new graphics cards. Let's go take a look.
Our CES 2025 coverage is brought to you by NVIDIA and MSI. To find out more about their latest products, check the link in the video description.
Well, I'm sure you've seen the announcements now for 50 series. We're going to start off at the bottom of the stack with the new Ventus 5090. This is similar to what we see with the other Ventus cards from MSI. Very basic design. These cards typically will find themselves living in systems built by system integrators and stuff like that. For me personally, you know what I'm like, guys. I'm not about the RGB life. Cards like the Ventus are one of the cards that I would typically pick for a system like mine. Now, the only thing that you lose with the Ventus cards is they typically don't clock as high, but that's not a big deal because the one that people usually choose is this one, the next one, the Gaming Trio. Well, actually, it's called the Gaming Trio now. They used to call it the Gaming X Trio. There's a little bit more RGB accent in the Gaming Trio. As you can see here, maybe you can see it, there's little like claw scratches inside the card here, and these illuminate. I actually kind of like this because they've added this diffusion layer on top. But you know, like I said, for RGB, I don't really care that much. That's pretty heavy. This is the new Vanguard. This is a new series from MSI. What they've done is they've kind of said, hey, we don't care about the limitations of your PC case. We wanted to make the biggest GPU possible, but it's not the Gaming Trio and it's not the Supreme. It's got a couple interesting things that we see with the design here. We've got fake carbon fiber, which means it's lighter or it's faster. When it comes to benchmarking these cards, the whole keynote thing is, you know how I feel about this stuff, guys. We don't have the cards yet. We can't tell you how fast they are. We don't know anything. We know as much as you guys. And as far as pricing is concerned with the 5090, especially these MSI cards, it's going to be more than $1,999 US. I can guarantee you that much. But finally, the two cards I think no one's going to be able to buy are the Supreme cards. Now, I got to let you guys into a little secret. I've got one of these waiting at home for me. So this will be one of the cards that we'll be featuring in our first review for the 5090. This thing is an absolute chunk, but I feel the design of the 50 series Supreme is almost the same as the 40 series Supreme, just a bit thicker. Finally, I got Tim behind me. Hello, Tim. We have the Supreme water liquid cooling one that will go faster because it's got water in it. Look, these AIO GPUs, they really don't interest me that much because when it comes to building a system, you need to provision most of the time for two liquid coolers, and a lot of the cases we're seeing at the moment, yeah, but we'll see. I want to get one of these in to test. Whether or not it's going to be faster because it's liquid cooled is yet to be seen, because as you may have seen with the 5090 Founders Edition, it's a 2-slot card with 2 fans. Do we need all of this? Who knows? Moving down the stack to the 5080, which they didn't really talk that much about. In fact, NVIDIA didn't really talk about specs that much at all. The 5080 is a 16 gig card. One card that really caught my eye here at MSI is this new Inspire card. It's got this kind of bronzy heatsink. It's very, very light. The PCB is really, really small, and it's like 2 and a bit slots. So I think this one, for me personally, would be a card that I would choose. It's really small. It's really small. I really like the design here. I wish they'd made a 5090 Inspire, but you know, beggars can't be choosers, right? Moving along, we've got the Ventus again. This is similar to the 40 series Ventus design as well. Look, it's a no frills card. It's not supposed to be the top dog in terms of design and cooling, but as with what we've seen, even with the Founders 5090, I don't think these cards are going to require a whole lot of cooling. However, I think they'll be drinking a whole lot of power, and we'll be covering that in our reviews coming soon. Going on from the tradition of the Trio cards from previous generations, especially with the 4070 Ti from MSI, we've got the 5080 Trio These are both in a white version and a black version. And I think this is usually the model that you'll find most people buying for their systems, especially from what we've seen in the comments. The 80 cards in the trio is typically what people would buy. I think that the design for this is a little bit nicer, and I'll tell you why. With the 40 series trio cards, the cooler had this huge plastic bit at the bottom which made it difficult for GPU clearance. What that means is the measurement that you're seeing on the card isn't totally accurate. What I've found with these new 50 series cards from MSI is they've tried to make them as square as possible, so the measurements and actually being able to fit these inside your system are going to be a whole lot easier. You won't have to navigate that massive plastic bump on the end of the card. So good work, MSI. I'm glad you guys are listening. With the 5080s, we also have one of the new Vanguard cards with that fake carbon fiber to make it lighter, to make it go faster. The thing I'm liking about these Vanguard cards is the design is a little bit understated. There's not as much RGB. They have a big old Dragon Boy on top, but I think these just look a little bit cleaner. Let me know, guys. Let me know what you think of these new Vanguard cards, because to be honest, these look pretty slick. Everywhere we go, there's pins. Claire's began to collect pins. I'll bet you any money she's probably got already a pocket full of these pins. They're so cute though. Look at them. Little Space Lucky. NVIDIA talked about the 5090 and the 5070, but there wasn't much discussion about the 5070 Ti. It's kind of the sweet spot for most people who want to spend a little bit more than they should, but get the performance that they deserve. Right? We have the Inspire card with this beautiful gold cooler. Now, the pattern you guys are probably already picking up on is MSI has all of their cards across the board with the same designs, except for the 5090. They don't have a 5090 Inspire, but other than that, for the 5080, the 5070 Ti, and the 5070, all of the designs are ubiquitous across the entire range. I'm guessing you picked up on the theme here. I really like the design of these Inspire cards. There's also a 5070 Inspire as well. Man, these things look so cool. They're insanely light. How do they do it? What do they make it out of? How is it so light? The PCB is tiny as well. Look at it. It's so small. Lastly, with these 50 series cards, some of the cards that might interest you the most are for the small form factor enthusiasts. And MSI has been doing this for a little while now, but we've got the Ventus 2X in white. This is a 5070. It is an absolutely tiny card. Look, maybe you can see it compared to the size of my head. I have a pretty small head. Okay, well, maybe I don't have a small head. What's more interesting is with the 4070, some cards we saw had regular PCIe power. This one has a 12 volt high power connector as well. Look, guys, I'm very skeptical about the performance of this being equal to a 4090. I'm not gonna lie, because we don't have these yet and we can't test them. But again, you'll have to wait to see what happens when we can do all of our performance testing to see what the full story is with this being up there with the 4090. But again, it's all like marketing stuff, guys. This is how this works. We'll see. I'm telling you though, if this is 4090 performance in this size, it'd be pretty awesome. Pretty hard to match. Well, that's all the graphics card stuff that I wanted to show you guys here at CES 2025 in Las Vegas. But keep your eyes peeled, because reviews for all of the new 50 series stuff will be coming very, very soon, and we'll have everything ready for you guys. So make sure you subscribe, do all that stuff, and special thanks to MSI and NVIDIA for flying us out to CES 2025. We'll catch you next time.